So today's video is going to be on dependency injection using StructureMap. So dependency injection follows the DIP or dependency immersion principle of software engineering. So this is going to be a really quick tutorial on the basics and how to get into StructureMap. So what I've done here is I just made a simple console application called dependency inject. So one of the first things we need is StructureMap to enable the dependency injection. So what we're going to do, we're going to go to Tools, NuGet Package Manager, Manage them, all that good stuff, Structure, and search for StructureMap. When I spell it right. Alright, StructureMap, and you're going to install it on your application. Boom. So now you should see dependency StructureMap in your references right there. So we're going to go to our program.cs, and one of the first things we're going to do is going to set up a container for this. So let's make a variable called var application. Name it anything you want. We do not want that now. Whatever. Var application is equal to container dot for, remember container is part of StructureMap, so container for we're going to specify a class name here like instance scanner. So this is going to scan all the interfaces in your assembly for this class. So let's make that class in another file. Add class instance scanner.cs blah. Let's make this public. Going back, this should go away, maybe. We'll fix that up. Anyways, this needs to implement registry from StructureMap, wherever it is. Make sure it's StructureMap, we don't want the Windows one. And in our constructor, we're going to have it scan. Let's use a lambda expression, blah. Dot the calling assembly. So what this calling assembly does is it scans the calling assembly, and the calling assembly in this case is my dependency inject project for all the assemblies and what interfaces they have, and to create an instance for them. And we'll also use the default with default conventions. So this means is if you're going to use a class in an interface, if your class's name is logger, your interface must be named iLogger. So the trick is always putting an I before your interface. If it's writer, make the interface iWriter. And I'll show you what that means in a sec. Let's go back to our program.cs, right? So now we have our scanner, and now what we're going to do is var manager instance, whatever, can be, is equal to application dot get instance of, let's call another file called manager, whatever. Let's make that file, and I'll show you what that is in a sec. Oops. Add class manager.cs, make that public, all that good stuff. Alright, so that should go away. Good. So we're going to make a constructor in here. This is where our dependency injection comes into play. So I'm going to inject all the interfaces that I need into this public manager. So let's make that class first. So this is a really dumbed down example. So what we're going to do is add a class, and we're going to call it, let's call it console logger, or well, let's call it logger. Logger.cs, make it public, right? And we're going to make an interface public interface iLogger. Whoops. And we're going to make a method called void right here, please, and with a string text, right? And we're going to make this implement iLogger, implement missing methods, boom, and void right here, please. Oh wait, what am I doing? My bad. Let's do console.writeLine. This is a really dumbed down example, by the way, so forgive me for this. Alright, console.write. Let's just try one more thing. Console.write. Bye. I hate you. Alright. Dark, I know. So, here comes the magic. So let's make an interface for it. No, not an interface, an instance of it. Public iLogger of logger. Now, the magic is here. We're going to inject this in here. iLogger, if I can spell it right, which I clearly can't. iLogger, and let's call it logger. And we're going to initialize our logger to logger. Boom. So let's make a method in here. Public void whatever. Manager writer something. Can be anything. I don't care. Then we're going to use our logger initialize to right here please that uses the method that we implemented before. Let's give it a text. Hi. Good morning. Oh, my grammar's off. And I love you. Sounds dumb, but anyways. So that is that. Right? So all we need to do now is call that method manager instance dot manager writer. Boom. So this let's do a console dot read line so we see what's printed, and this should work. Hi, good morning, and I love you. Bye, I hate you. So what's happened is this instance of iLogger has been injected, and how was it injected? It was because our instance scanner found the interface using the default convention. And what was our default convention? In our manager, if your class name is called logger, which should be my bad. Class name is called logger. You have to call your interface iLogger. You have to prepend, if that's a word, prepend an I to logger. So that's that. And it only scans the calling assembly. And again, like I said, our calling assembly is dependency inject. Yep. Where is that? Right, the calling assembly. Well, the calling assembly, right? So what happens if it's in a different assembly? So, or let's hold on a sec. If you don't want to use the default convention, that's fine. I'll show you another case. Let's make another one called add class. Let's call this writer. It's going to have the same functionality. I just want to show you what I mean by not having the default conventions. I'm just going to copy this. Why do I keep doing that? Writer, public class writer, blah blah blah. I'm pasting this here, but I'm not going to call it iLogger. I will call it writerx. Again, please, whoa, something is wrong with my keyboard. Anyways, please go right on my wall. So the class is writer, so typically the interface should have been called iWriter, but we're calling it writerx. So by this convention, how it calls by default conventions would fail because it's not called iWriter. So you're going to have to explicitly mention that, which I will show in a sec. But let's just write this here, right on my wall. Oh wait, this has to interface. Something is wrong with my keyboard and I don't know what. Implement missing methods. Oh. Alright. Right on my wall, so let's just do a console.writeLine. Hey there. Simple. Right. So Now the trick here is, now we're going to have to specifically specify it because it doesn't follow the default conventions. So what we're going to do is for, I think it's interface name, if my memory serves me right. For writer X, you're going to write the interface name, dot use, and you're going to write the class name here, which was what? Writer. I hope that's right. I think that's right. We'll see in a sec. Anyways, so now what we can do is, in our manager, let's make a public void writer X whatever whatever dot logger dot, oh wait, it's not logger, so now we have to inject that one interface again too. So writer X writer, let's inject it in here, writer X writer, and we're going to use underscore writer is equal to writer. So let's use writer dot write on my wall, go away. Did I? Yeah, I accept the string, but I don't use the string, so I'm an idiot. Alright. Go away. Come back tomorrow. And we're going to use console.readLine just to see what's happening. And we're going to hit play. So it's the same thing, but we're not using default conventions. So that's the first thing when you hit enter. That did not work. Oh, because I didn't call it, of course. Let's use manager instance dot writer X. So this should work. And there it is. Go away, come back tomorrow. Same code, different conventions. Alright, so if it's in a different assembly, well, actually I'll show that in the next video.